The war is entering a decisive stage. The Ukrainian armed forces are storming the Kursk region. The battle is already in Tetkino, panic in the republics. The front is bursting at the seams. Ruins. In the Bryansk region, the Ukrainian armed forces struck accurately. Moscow is under attack. Drones attack the capital of the Russian Federation. The success of the parade is in question. May 9th could become a nightmare day for the Kremlin. More on Ukraine's main successful actions over the last day. Now coming up.
Moscow is under attack. Friendly drones paid a visit to Putin's capital.
Do you hear?
Moscow Mayor Sobyanin stated that the Russian air defense allegedly repelled the attack of 4 drones. Nighttime bangs were also heard in the Moscow region.
Something is buzzing over there. Subtitles by Dima Torzan. There it flew somewhere over there. I can't see it.
Due to the drone raid, Rosaviatsia announced the carpet plan at Moscow's Vnukovo airport. That is, the airport was neither receiving nor sending flights. Domodedovo airport was also not operational.
I do not rule out the possibility that this behavior by the Russian authorities is a staging of events on the eve of May 9th with the aim of accusing the Ukrainian side of being uncooperative and accordingly violating the so-called unilateral peace agreements announced by the Russian Federation.
It also hit the Bryansk region. As a result of the attack, a massive fire broke out at the Strela plant in the village of Suzemka.
That's the plant that's burning. Amazing, of course.
According to some reports, the plant was put out of operation after the strike.
This enterprise is a key part of the Russian military-industrial complex. According to reports from the Russian side itself, this enterprise produces electronics for the Russian defense industry and collaborates with the Rostec Corporation. According to Russian reports, the plant was allegedly attacked using Gradikich multiple rocket launcher systems. The enterprise itself is located in the Suzemka district of the Bryansk region. However, according to other sources, the strike on the enterprise was carried out using unmanned aerial vehicles.
And while the Russians are calculating their losses, the Czech Republic continues to support Ukraine. As part of the cooperation, Kiev may receive 1 billion units of artillery ammunition.
According to the EU's own estimates, the capabilities of European partners. To provide Ukraine with artillery shells by the end of 2025 amount to about 2 million shells. This significantly enhances the combat capability of Ukraine's defense forces and reduces the fire damage ratio, which until recently was in favor of the Russian side.
In addition, Ukraine will receive a modernized Patriot air defense system, which was previously based in Israel. Negotiations are also underway with allies about the possible transfer of another installation from Germany or Greece, according to the New York Times, citing American officials.
The chances of obtaining it are quite high. It should be noted that there are currently 8 Patriot systems in Ukraine, but 2 of them are under repair. The Patriot is the only anti-aircraft missile system capable of countering aeroballistic targets. There is also the European equivalent SAM-PET, but they are limited in number. Therefore, acquiring 2 Patriots is a very significant enhancement to Ukraine's air and missile defense system.
Additionally, the first photos of the Magura V-7C drone have appeared online, which Ukrainian forces used to destroy 2 Russian Su-30 fighters.
The technical specifications of the Magura V-7, its length is about 8 meters, while the length of the Magura V-5 is 5.5 meters. The Magura V-7 has a modified nose shape. This feature implies improved seaworthiness. The Magura V-7C drone is equipped with air-to-air missiles with infrared guidance. These are IAM-9 missiles. It should be noted that the choice of these particular missiles is not accidental. They are the most widely used.
The elimination of the Russian Su-30 was the first ever destruction of a combat aircraft by a sea drone.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now. Urgent! The Kremlin is preparing a bloody spectacle for May 9th. According to insiders, Putin's special services have already received orders to stage a series of terrorist attacks in Russian regions and then blame it all on Ukraine. Provocation as a tool of the regime, a classic from the FSB. Here's what is known. Watch right now. Read more sensational events on the Times of Ukraine Telegram channel. Only fresh news and verified information. Link in the description below the video.
Russian special services have been instructed to organize terrorist attacks in several regions of the Russian Federation during the May 9th celebrations, reports the international intelligence community. Informed upon?
The FSB is a strong, reliable, and effective link in the national security system.
To kill and maim themselves. Russians plan to do this to blame Ukraine and mobilize the population for war.
This is a well-known scheme. It was also used by the Soviet Union many times. Let's recall the story of the execution of Polish officers during World War II. This was also presented as a false flag operation.
Preliminarily, at a high level within the structure of Russian security agencies, instructions were distributed to organize terrorist attacks in several regions of the Russian Federation. Among them, cities like Khabarovsk and Ulan-Ude are being considered.
Why Khabarovsk? It's very simple. Because in Khabarovsk, there are still quite a few people who remember the arrest of the elected Governor Sergei Furgal. And consequently, anti-Moscow sentiments in Khabarovsk are very, very strong. In Ulan-Ude, you also can't say that Moscow is greatly loved. Therefore, finding people there who would be ready to do something unpleasant for Moscow is quite easy.
However, it is also reported that all efforts are being made to ensure the parade in Moscow goes off without incidents.
Many foreign guests, and Putin wants to demonstrate that he is fully in control of the situation. Therefore, no. There should be no sanctioned demonstrations in Moscow, and even the provocations they orchestrate themselves, they are also afraid of in Moscow, simply because some foreign guests might see them, which must not be allowed under any circumstances.
After the Easter truce, which the Russians did not adhere to along the entire front line, Putin announced another truce for the day of the occupiers' celebration on May 9th. It is supposed to start at midnight on May 8th and last until midnight on May 11th.
This primarily concerns the relationship between Putin and Trump. After the meeting between Volodymyr Zelensky and Donald Trump in Rome, we understand that there is some kind of turning point. At least in the relations, it definitely happened. And accordingly, we immediately heard Trump's statements were much more, let's say, not pro-Ukrainian, but closer to Ukraine's position than what we had heard before.
British intelligence believes that the three-day truce announced by the Kremlin dictator under the celebration of May 9th aims to show Russia's supposed openness to some agreements and to limit Ukraine in long-range strikes while not worsening its positions on the front. Also, according to experts, the so-called truce may be used by the occupiers to redeploy troops and improve their positions for war.
The front is exploding. The armed forces are advancing. Strikes, drone and artillery assaults. Russians are abandoning positions and leaving equipment. Conscripts are in panic. Elite units are losing positions. Details of the offensive, new maps and videos from the front line. You will be shocked.
Ukrainian aviation continues to operate actively along the entire front line, delivering precise strikes on enemy fortifications and positions. One of the latest examples is the successful operation of a MiG-29, which destroyed a bunker and a firing point of the occupiers in the Tetkino area. Particular attention should be paid to the development of the enemy's engineering infrastructure. In just a few weeks, a full-fledged fortified area has emerged in Tetkino. However, it runs right through a residential street and is literally laid under residential houses. A classic tactic of using civilian infrastructure as cover. In fact, Tetkino has today turned into a defensive stronghold for the invaders. That is why our pilots are targeting it. In just 2 days, Ukrainian aviation has turned this place into a real hell, demonstrating determination and effectiveness in eliminating threats, even before they begin active operations. The 3rd Assault Brigade continues to destroy the enemy with a series of precise strikes, methodically and without compromise. In the Kharkiv region, BBS units conducted another successful operation. Several tanks and an artillery piece came under fire. A field generator, antenna equipment and armored vehicles. The enemy's logistics, seriously, suffered, disrupting communication and power supply. Separately, a van trying to leave the area was destroyed. It burned on the roadside. An enemy infantry unit that tried to hide in the greenery was also detected and eliminated. All of this was the result of coordinated actions by reconnaissance and skilled strike aviation. The Primus units and the assault troops of the 3rd Brigade leave the enemy no chance. Every target will meet its end. The enemy, who once came with a sword to Ukrainian land, is now forced to crawl through plantations and hide in burrows. But even so, they cannot hide. The fighters of the Active Operations Unit of the Main Intelligence Directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine find the occupier in any shelter. Over the past week, thanks to the coordinated efforts of military intelligence, including the elite unit Artan, a significant amount of enemy resources have been destroyed or disabled. Namely, 36 vehicles, 2 armored vehicles, 6 mortars, 26 artillery systems, 11 drones both strike and reconnaissance, 5 communication antennas for UAVs, 12 communication systems, 1 air defense system, 3 electronic warfare sets, and over 200 engineering and fortification structures. This is not just statistics, it is the result of precise and relentless hunting that continues day and night. Ukrainian intelligence acts quickly, decisively and relentlessly. While the enemy is looking for a place to hide, the drone is already waiting for them. As for the situation on the front as of May 6, 2025 then, Russia continues intensive attempts to break through along the entire front line, despite significant losses. Since the beginning of the day, 79 combat engagements have been recorded. The most tense remain the Pokrovsky direction and the south of the Donetsk region, where the enemy is operating with the forces of 2 armies at once. In other directions, the situation is as follows. In the Kharkiv direction, 2 attacks were repelled and 3 more battles are ongoing. In the Kupiansk direction, 2 enemy assaults were stopped. In the Lyman area, there were 8 attacks and 2 battles are still ongoing at the moment. Siversk remained without active combat actions. In the Kramatorsk direction, 2 attacks and 1 battle were repelled. 1 more is still ongoing. In the Toretsk direction, there were 2 assaults and 1 assault is still continuing. The Pokrovsky direction is the hottest, with 36 attacks observed, 27 of which were repelled. There is also active use of aerial bombs, and the enemy is attempting to break through. In the Novopavlovsk direction, 11 attacks were thwarted and 3 attacks are in progress. There is also information that enemy aviation is operating there. In the Huliaipol direction, 2 attacks were repelled and enemy aviation activity is also recorded. In the Orikiv direction, 4 assaults were repelled and there are also enemy airstrikes. In the Pisky direction, 3 assaults were repelled and the enemy conducted 182 shellings and 4 airstrikes. Special emphasis on the south of the Donetsk region. The Russians are assaulting the section south of the highway, H15, Donetsk-Kurakove-Zaporizhzhia, which is located between the Vorona and Mokry Yali rivers from Novoselki to Fedorivka. Despite the limited length of the section, which is up to 30 km, it is being attacked by the main forces of the 5th and 36th Combined Arms Armies of the Russian Federation, indicating a high priority of this direction for the enemy command. That's all for today. Watch other news tomorrow.